Your critics are calling this
goal.
just tactics of dealing things to try and buy some time and to build on this narrative to show Imran Khan, quote unquote, as a
That
victim
is
or as a
no.
martyr.
You're trying to
I'll come
mix
back
it
to you in just a bit.
on the
I want to
basis
bring
of.
in Dr. Rao also. Dr. Rao, we've been discussing this over the last couple of days. This entire strategy, first to say that there is a foreign conspiracy. I have not done anything wrong. I have a letter which could be explosive. We never know the content of that letter. Then to say there are foreign powers involved. Opposition is trying to dislodge my power. I've done everything right for the country. Then we see the kind of drama that folds over the weekend. Do you think it's fair to say he is playing every trick in the book just to buy some extra time, somehow to try and turn the narrative around him that I'm a victim, I'm a martyr? And do you think that's working?
Well, yes, a very good evening to you. And I think you just put it right. You said that, he's trying every single trick that is there. And you see what Imran Khan is doing is that, he has taken the classical populist route. And what is the classical or the classic, case study populist route? It begins by subverting the democratic process, the democratic procedure. That's precisely what he's doing, I mean, he knew that he could never win the numbers. The opposition were already reaching about 190, 194. And, his support was really falling. His own PTI lawmakers had started to deflect. He knew all of that, right? So what did he do? He just tried to make sure that the no confidence motion is not tabled, and the entire way in which that that act was carried out, that really smacks of all of that being pre-planned. Now the point is that I want to talk about the U.S. conspiracy, card that he's been playing,
which has been denied, by the way.
Which has been denied, of course. But let me just tell you, why is he playing that card, right? So obviously it's been denied, it's bogus. See, understand that he has been saying that USA, okay, and Biden has been conniving with the opposition to actually oust Imran Khan. I mean, he's just a victim of hubris there. Okay, that no doubts there. But as to why is he doing it? See, he made himself an anti-American bogey. That is the right on which he had been riding. That is the wave on which he had been riding, right? I mean, that entire tilt towards China, etc. He had been doing that, and he is going to really play that as much as possible, that anti-Americanism. And it might work to some extent. You see, why? Because anti-Americanism or the role of America as the major security provider has been shrinking, not just in South Asia, but world over. Okay, so it might help him to some extent, right? To some extent, and that is why he's playing that card. Actually, he's not really that dumb. But having said that, in case the Supreme Court, I mean the 5-bench Supreme Court, says that the no confidence motion, the way it was rejected, was unconstitutional, we will have a new no confidence motion where absolutely this man stands no chance of winning. In case not, then it would probably have the opposition flabbergasted for the moment, and fresh elections would be called. Now, obviously, he's trying everything possible to try and tell everybody that he's very popular. All of this coming on TV and all this doing, all the drama that is happening is basically just to drive home the point that he is really very all-powerful, and he really knew it. So, but I'm not sure that is really going to translate into electoral advantage for him.
Well, that's exactly the point, Dr. Rao, right? While we've heard from Imran Khan over the last couple of days, almost on a daily basis in these addresses that we've seen, that let the people decide, let the mandate be with the people. But there is a big difference in being an orator, having people at your rally, and that turning into an electoral vote for you. But at this point, I'll just request all our guests to stay on with us, and I'll request Barrister Ahmed also, who's been patiently waiting. I'll come to you in just a bit. We also at this point want to break down the strategies that are being used both by Imran Khan and the opposition. First, we want to talk about what is Camp Imran Khan currently doing and what could be his strategy. He's just buying time to delay the no confidence vote in the assembly, and that's why we said if the Supreme Court reverses this decision, then it's going to be game over for Imran Khan. Push for early elections to reclaim political edge. This is exactly what he's hoping for, and he's been repeating this over the last couple of days as well. Continue to accuse the opposition of an international plot. As I pointed out, it started with an alleged letter, then a foreign conspiracy, saying that the opposition is working with the foreign conspiracy to try and dislodge my power as well. The other narrative that we've heard from him is to try and gain some sympathy by floating an assassination plot as well, that I continue to work for the nation, but my own life is at risk because there are certain elements who want me dead or want me gone. Placate rebel PTI members with promise of South Punjab. This is again something that we've heard him repeat time and again, a narrative that we know that the camp Imran Khan is working with, continue the outreach to smaller parties to stabilize the regime. Because remember, as we've been pointing out, Pakistan economy and the political developments were already in shambles. So if you do have a regime change, what will that mean for the future of Pakistan? But before I get talking about all of that, I actually want to go across to Barrister Mohammed Ahmed to understand the developments that we saw by Imran Khan and his camp over the weekend. Do you then think, or is it fair to say that the developments that we saw are setting a very dangerous precedent as far as the Supreme Court is concerned? Because if that goes ahead and if that decision is not reversed, then any political party tomorrow can come and demand the same.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, my response to this would primarily revolve around the constitutional framework in Pakistan. I'm not a PTI spokesperson.
Sure.
But I am certainly guided by the constitution. So to understand that, first of all, we need to understand what has been happening in Pakistan. The treasury benches, the government in Pakistan, certain number of the members, they sort of defected. So an opinion was sought from the Honorable Supreme Court of Pakistan, whereby Article 63A, which talks about defection, an opinion was sought from the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court was asked to opine on the question whether this would amount to defection or not, or whether they can vote or not. In that very backdrop, the no confidence motion was eventually floated, and 2 days before, like 2 days ago, this no confidence motion was taken up. So Prime Minister Imran Khan, of course, has two sides. One is the political side, and another is the upholder of the Constitution of Pakistan. Now, remaining within that Constitution, there is a principle that any ruling that the Speaker of National Assembly passes, that cannot be called into question. So what essentially was done by the Treasury members or the government was that the Honorable Law Minister delivered a speech, and in that speech he sought support from Article 5 of the Constitution, which said that loyalty of the state is the most important thing for any citizen of Pakistan. And based on the letter, which, mind you, that letter is not only been highlighted by the Honorable Prime Minister, but also by the National Security Council, it has been endorsed that this letter amounts to violation of our sovereignty. So the contents of that letter are still not made public. However, based on that decision by the NSC, this was made public, and this was made public before the Speaker, Deputy Speaker. The Deputy Speaker, based on that, passed a detailed ruling. Now, from here onwards, the constitutional crisis or the constitutional debate that has emanated in Pakistan. Now, the important question before the Honorable Supreme Court at the moment is whether the Speaker's ruling is protected under the Constitution or not. And there is ample case law from Pakistani jurisdiction which says that Speaker's ruling cannot be called into question unless it is unconstitutional per se or illegal. But at this point in time, I think it is difficult to predict that. Once that step opens up, or that floodgate opens up, and Speaker's ruling is called into question, then I think this ruling can be problematic. Why? Because the purpose of this ruling appears to have been, defeating the no confidence motion itself, which once again is linked to Article 63 being
so
the
as I said, of course, the ball is in the Supreme Court's arena. And whichever way the Supreme Court goes, that will actually define the future of the politics of Pakistan.